My father sold my car and used the money for a couch with his new wife. That couch cost them everything. I bought my car with money I'd saved since I was 14, working at a grocery store, then a restaurant, then doing landscaping every summer. It took me 4 years to save $12,000 for a reliable car to get me through college and my first job. My father had laughed when I bought it, saying I should have gotten something flashier, but I wanted something that would last. He'd never helped with the purchase, never offered a dollar, just complained that it made him look bad when his kid drove something so basic. 2 years later, my father married Denise after knowing her for 4 months. She moved into his house with her 3 kids and immediately started redecorating everything. Every week something new had to go because it didn't match her vision. The coffee table was wrong, the kitchen chairs were outdated, the living room needed a complete makeover. My father went along with everything, maxing out credit cards to keep her happy. When I came home from college for spring break, my car was gone from where I'd parked it in his driveway. I asked where it was and he said he'd had it towed because it was leaking oil. I checked the driveway and there was no oil stain. I called the tow company and they said they'd taken it to an impound lot per the owner's request. The owner being my father, since I'd made the mistake of putting his name on the title for insurance purposes when I was 18. I went to the impound lot and they said the car had been marked for auction because the owner had signed it over. My father had sold my car to a wholesale auction for quick cash. When I confronted him, Denise was sitting on their new couch, this massive leather sectional that took up the entire living room. She was running her hands over it, talking about how perfect it was for their new life together. My father said the car was technically his since his name was on the title, and I wasn't using it enough to justify keeping it. I was literally home on break from college where I used it every single day. He said I could use the bus when I got back to school. Denise chimed in that young people were too attached to material things anyway. This woman who demanded new everything was telling me I was materialistic for wanting my own car that I'd paid for. My father said he'd done me a favor because now I wouldn't have to worry about maintenance and insurance. I reminded him I paid my own insurance and had just done all the maintenance over winter break. He said I was being ungrateful for all he'd done for me. He'd done nothing except put his name on a title. Denise said the money from my car had gone to good use, making their home beautiful for their blended family. Her kids, who were all older than me, hadn't contributed anything but were benefiting from my car being sold. They were sitting on the couch my car had paid for, taking photos for their social media about their mom's great taste in furniture. I called my mother crying and she said to let it go, that fighting with my father wasn't worth it. But then she called her brother Vincent, who was a lawyer. Vincent said what my father did was technically legal but morally reprehensible. He also said if I could prove I'd paid for the car entirely myself, I might have a case for theft by conversion. I had every receipt, every bank statement showing my deposits from my jobs, everything proving I'd bought that car myself. Vincent sent my father a letter saying we were prepared to take legal action. My father called, screaming that I was tearing apart his new family over a stupid car. Denise got on the phone saying I was a spoiled brat trying to ruin their happiness. Vincent told me to document everything they said. Then something amazing happened. The auction house called me because they'd found my college parking permit and some mail with my name in the glove compartment. They wanted to verify the sale was legitimate. I explained the situation and they said the car hadn't sold yet. It was going up the next week. They couldn't stop the sale, but they told me when and where it would be. I couldn't afford to buy my own car back, but Vincent had an idea. He reached out to Denise's ex-husband Carl, who was still bitter about the divorce. Carl was wealthy, owned a chain of restaurants, and hated that Denise had left him for my father who had no money. Vincent told Carl about the couch situation, and Carl thought it was hilarious that my father had to sell his kid's car to afford furniture. Carl showed up at the auction and bought my car for $15,000, $3,000 more than it was worth, just to drive up the price. Then he called me and said I could have it back for exactly what I'd originally paid for it, $12,000, but I didn't have $12,000 anymore. Carl said I could work it off at his restaurants over the summer and take the car now. The best part was Carl knew Denise would recognize the car. He made sure to drive it past my father's house a few times before giving it to me. Denise saw it and demanded to know why Carl had my car. When she found out he'd bought it to give back to me, she lost it. Full story on channel, link below.